Fry here from CG Magazine, and I'm here with Brent. Brentalfloss, what's your last name?
Black.
Black.
Like the plague.
I should have gotten it. So, for anyone that doesn't know what you do, can you describe what it is you do?
Well, mainly I make videos on YouTube where I take a classic video game tune, sometimes old classics, sometimes new classics, and I add lyrics, not unlike Weird Al or that kind of thing, usually satirical in nature. And I make a little music video out of a funny, kind of musical number based on a classic video game tune. And it, from what I understand, I just kind of do it and see what happens, but there's a little bit of nostalgia attached. It kind of takes people back to the time when they played that game, whether it was 5 years ago or in some cases 25 years ago. And yeah, nerds seem to like it.
Shop Chanel. We have software and games to sell.
How'd you get started with this?
I was teaching a songwriting for musical theater course in the middle of well, may as well have been Egypt. It was Ardmore, Oklahoma. Population 20,000. It was an arts youth program. And so every day I've got nothing to do really once, 2 hours of class are over, and I just went back to the little apartment where I was staying, and I was listening to the Mega Man 3 title theme. And my favorite tune of all time, like beats Beethoven, Mozart, to me, the Mega Man 3 title theme from Mega Man 3, Capcom, 1990, is the best tune of all time. And I just, as a joke, started writing lyrics for it. And they started out very weird and clunky, and then I thought, this is kind of funny. I slapped together a little video with iMovie, which is like the really basic editing program on the Mac, put it on YouTube as a gag, and like the next day it was on College Humor, the day after that it was on GorillaMask.net, all these weird aggregators of that usually younger males go to find interesting content or funny content on the internet. And it had got more views in a week than I'd ever gotten on YouTube. And I kind of went, okay, so this is working. I didn't expect it to, but this is working. And I just kind of kept doing it. And eventually when I started releasing albums, it sort of went from a hobby to kind of a career.
What kind of challenges do you face when you do this kind of thing?
The main challenge is just time. I've ramped up my production schedule to a new major music video every 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
So it's like the amount of time it takes to play a game enough that I understand it. If you just play the first hour or two, you could make a song, but will big fans of the game buy the authenticity? That's an easy thing for them to tell, because if they played it, they'll be like, you didn't really play it, did you? You just got to the second level, or you'd be talking about that one thing. So playing the game to the point where I totally understand it, that gets harder as I go on, because I've done most of the games that I'm really intimately familiar with. So I need to play a game in a short amount of time. I rearrange the music, I sort of remix it, write the lyric, rewrite the lyric. So yeah, time is an issue, but also keeping it fresh, and one of the best ways to do that is just to do different styles of music all the time. The great thing is that video game music, even though classic BGM sounds kind of plinky-plonky, the styles that are contained in it range from like salsa to mambo to blues to rock and roll to gospel. Like, it just does not end. And sometimes I put my own spin, like something that was a little bit, upbeat can become country, it can become bluegrass, or it can slow down to a really slow blues. So the challenge there is keeping the musical styles fresh so that it's never ridiculously predictable. Because the second it becomes predictable, if I wouldn't want to watch it, then why would a viewer want to watch it out in the world? That's the biggest challenge.
They'll cure all your ills. Just as long as you've got.
So what were your background to actually kind of get into this?
Okay, so I was fairly musical as a child. Started playing piano on my own around age 7 or 8. Started writing songs, like tunes, around 12, and then lyrics a little bit later. Did some original musicals in high school, went to drama school, went to grad school for musical theater writing, which is basically like going to Hogwarts. Got a master's in that. And so basically everything had led up to this point where I was a kid with a nerdy video game filled past, and also my young adulthood had been full of learning songwriting skills and storytelling through music, and it was sort of a perfect storm, I think. And there are days where I'm like, not totally overjoyed that this is the combination of traits that I have. I might want to, go be some prize-winning astrophysicist, or, like go to the moon, I don't know, but I really do think that the things that led up to this, which are the video game knowledge and love of video games, plus the learning song structure and storytelling through songwriting, kind of have the perfect storm of leading up to this combination of things, leading up to this product.
Do you have a favorite song that really kind of speaks to you the most beyond anything else?
No, but I do have a least favorite question.
Okay.
No, I'm just messing with you. Actually, the Bioshock song, it was an original. I do sometimes do originals because I am a composer, but people don't always want to hear, once they're used to hearing a song they love, hearing a new one that is about a game they love can throw them off. But the Bioshock song was one that I did in kind of an old-timey 1920s, 1930s style. And it was trying to encapsulate the kind of old-timey feel of the music you hear in the Bioshock game, but also all the violence and gore. And it just was a really nice mix of, a musical style, good jokes, and a fun tune. So that's probably my favorite, but I mean, it changes every day.
So glad you came on down to the best little town at the bottom of the deep blue sea.
Now, final question. For anyone that looks at your stuff and says, I really want to do that, do you have any advice to them? Is just kind of stick with it, or do you think it's kind of a hard thing to kind of jump into?
Well, I guess the question is, what do you mean by, like, if you're talking about doing exactly what I do, I just highly don't recommend it because I think that it's a lot of work, and I think that it's a very specific thing. But when it comes to any kind of art, whether it's YouTube videos or parody songs, or even if it is doing exactly what I do, you always have to stick with it because it's not so different from basketball.
Yeah.
You just have to keep playing, and you'll only get better from playing. And in the same way, you'll only get better from doing more work, and writing begets more writing begets more writing. So people that sit around and go, I just don't know how to get better. Well, do the thing a lot. Do it for 10,000 hours, and you will either get better or die. One of the two. But I mean, you will probably get better.
At the bottom of the deep blue sea. Try out the you invent. It doesn't